everybody's sort of, going in the right direction. Everybody wants to do the right thing, but you guys can't ever get on the same page in those situations.
I mean, it's basketball. Nothing's going to be perfect, and nobody's going out there to, let's get there, situated right now. Mistakes happen. We're human beings. And, like I said, the more times you get put in that situation, Nickeil got a long career. That's going to be one of many mistakes he probably make. But at the same time, we play Portland again. You can't harp on that situation.
Z and BI are obviously, two still young guys learning what it takes to be effective in those late game situations. I guess, what are you seeing from them right now, just in their development, what it takes to be effective in those moments?
All the confidence and wanting the ball. BI missed 2 late game free throws, but he still wanted the ball, late in the game. That says a lot, from, a star he is. Like I said, everybody make mistakes. He ain't go up there to miss those on purpose. But he still wanted the ball at the end of the game, and, that says a lot.
But I know that after a game like that, everyone's going to focus on the last few minutes, and understandably so. But is there some element today, as far as team-wise, that you have to kind of move ahead and also look at some of the positive things that happened in the first 3.5 quarters, such as, the way Nickeil played? If the game doesn't end the way it is, people are talking today about, him having one of his better games.
That's my point exactly. Nickeil had a hell of a game, and that's all people talking about is that last play. But as a team, we know what happened. It didn't come down to that play. Obviously it was a crucial play, but I think it was a lot of turning points in that game that happened we could have prevented, especially on the defensive end.
Things have changed a little bit, as Zion's role has grown in the offense. Just, how do you feel about just where you're fitting in right now within the offense and what you're doing on that end?
I'm picking my spots, get in, shoot the ball when I'm open, drive when I'm open. I think I'm doing a great job of not selling and getting into the paint, getting guys open looks, and shooting the ball when I do get a chance to. And I think my biggest effect is probably on the defensive end, helping the guys out, playing hard, and just having energy out there. I think that's a great, start to these last 3 games. I thought I was effective.
Portland just seems to put, not only you guys, everybody in the pick and roll over and over and over again. What kind of challenge is that as a defender, knowing, not only do I have to defend Dame, but I got to, defend him in the pick and roll here, and he can pull up from, a step inside the half court.
It's a team game. It's a team game at the end of the day. All 5 guys got to be guarding the ball, not just their man. So, I think we did a hell of a job. Yeah, 50 points, but he shot 18 free throws as well. Like I said, we can cut down on some of that. I think we're in great position.
All right, thanks, Bled. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Just kind of going back to the inbounds play last night. After that, maybe after the game, I know Nickeil was probably feeling terrible about it. Do you, dog wanted to say hello? Do you say anything to Nickeil in that situation?
Oh, we talked today, and listen, the guy's starting his career out, and he's going to be in that situation again because he's a good free throw shooter, and so hopefully he learns from it because he knows what his mistake was. He looked away. He was trying to see where the next trap might come from instead of just catching the ball, and so he took his eyes off the ball and he got hit. It's something he's got to learn from. But listen, everybody's focused on the free throws, the inbounds play, and the foul, and none of those were good, okay? But to me, the bigger problem, and one we've had a problem with in the past, is with 6 minutes to go, we were up 17, and we stopped playing the way that we had played to get that lead. We became very, very random in our spacing. We didn't play with any pace. We didn't get movement or ball movement, or not enough of it. And we have been there before. And so that's what we watched today. We watched some good stuff too, but then we watched the last 6 minutes of the game unedited, straight through, to see what happened, because it was, it's emblematic of what's happened to us 2 or 3 times this year. And we have to keep playing the way we played to get to where we were. And we have to understand at that point in the game, team down 17 at home, they're going to be able to take some liberties and be more physical, and you're not going to get those calls, and you have to be able to play through that. And we just did not do a good job. And with that said, I made one really bad play call and probably should have made a couple of others. And so clarifies for me a little bit maybe what changes we need to be making late in the game also. So yeah, those plays at the end of the game were crushing, and we should have been able to win the game regardless, but we didn't play well enough in the last 6 minutes, and that's what I think we have to turn around.
And I guess, Alonzo last night said that, as the point guard, he feels like he should get the offense more organized. Maybe that's just him wanting to take the blame, but I guess, how do you feel like you guys should address those issues? Is that something the point guard needs to do? Is that a team issue? I guess, what are you telling your team to do to solve that?
Yeah, no, it's both. Like what I said to Lonzo is he needs to have the ball in his hands in those situations and get us organized. He understands that. But we didn't get to our spots on the floor. We can do that with other people handling, but we didn't. And there's no excuse for that. In our pace up the floor, we were just walking. It was almost like we thought with 6 minutes to go, we could just run out the clock. 6 minutes is forever in the NBA, especially when you're playing teams that shoot the ball the way they do. And, our approach to the last 6 minutes was not good enough. And we've been there before, and hopefully being there again, probably the most heartbreaking one of the year, well, that or Indiana at home, and seeing it again. You've got to make changes. You've got to learn from it. You got to get better.
I thought Zion made an interesting comment yesterday. He said everyone's heart was in the right place. Everyone's trying to do the right thing. How do you, take the positive of that everyone seems to be wanting to take, wanting to win the game and taking the game for themselves and understanding you need to make a play and harnessing that into something that is actually productive and allows you to win? Like, how do you take that attitude from each individual guy wanting to do something specific into the whole team, kind of closing a game out?
Yeah, well,
what I said made any sense.
Yeah, well, no, it did. I mean, look, we need to learn how to, there's two things you're trying to do. Like you're trying to play better, which I think in large part since the Minnesota game we have. But then you got to learn how to win. And, you've got to learn from these situations and be better the next time. I agree with Zion. Everybody's heart's in the right place. Everybody wants to get it done. I think sometimes maybe a little too much, and we force plays that we don't force over the rest of the game. Look, our ball movement, our unselfishness was incredible. 38 assists again, second game in a row. But down the stretch, just a little too stagnant other than the play that got the ball to Bled for the three. I mean, we were just too stagnant. So, we got to learn how to win. We got to learn how to play with a lead. We got to learn how to close games. And so I think from a coaching standpoint, you just need to, the best you can, keep teaching.
I was wondering about your thoughts about just the way that Nickeil played overall last night. Obviously, what happened at the end of the game was a focus, but it just seemed like unfortunate that, the way the game ends, it seemed like he just played a really good game, obviously, and made a bunch of threes. It might have been one of his biggest impacts he's had in the first 2 seasons of his career.
I thought he played well, yeah, and he shot the ball without hesitation. He got good on-balance shots. Yeah, he's going to make mistakes. He dropped the pass at the end of the game. He fouled Lillard on a three, things like that you hope he will learn from and get better at. But, yeah, his overall game was pretty good. But, again, part of the learning is learning how to win is it's not always about numbers. So, you made a lot of shots, you put up a lot of points. You can't foul Lillard on the three. You got to catch the inbounds pass. And I'm not saying that as a negative. It's part of learning. A lot of it is these little things that go into winning the game, because the three-point shot will come, the three-point shot will go, but, you can do smart things, solid things, every single night to win games. And we've got a ways to go to get there. Not just Nickeil, everybody. It was just you had mentioned him, so I use him as an example.
Yeah, you mentioned the offense struggling at the end, and you want to call different plays. Your last 2 buckets of the game was through Zion. Do you think are you pushing him more to demand the ball more in those situations? Do you think that's something he should be doing? I guess where does he fit in as far as fixing some of these late game issues?
Listen, I think Zion did what he was supposed to do. I think that in those situations where we're stagnant, I have to get the ball in his hands more, especially when we're not flowing up the floor with any kind of pace.
Hey, Stan, I know we've talked about the compactness of the schedule and having another game real quick to play to kind of flush these out the system. Do you think it's going to help these guys as a young team to help grow, knowing that the next game is also, it's the same situation against Portland in Portland, kind of doing, I mean, you can kind of do the same things if you do those things, it may help there.
I don't think it'll help, hurt, or anything else, and I said this after we blew the big lead in at home against Phoenix, and then we were going into the Boston game, and the questions were all about, how's it going to affect you? And we had a great bounce back in that game. I don't know what will be tomorrow, but our guys will not be affected by what happened last night. They will come out and play. Good game, bad game, or whatever, it's not going to be because of last night. Their spirit was really good today. There's been a lot of ups and downs in this season, but in my mind, it has not been hangovers from the last game or anything else. Whether it's a good game or bad game, I don't think we got overconfident and after the Clippers and came out lazy last night. I don't think our guys get their heads down when something bad happens. I mean, they just play. Some nights it's really good. Other nights it's not really good. But I think mentally they've been pretty resilient.
Coach, how much more difficult is it to win in late game situations when you don't have a Chris Paul, Jimmy Butler, when your young core is all really young and they're the ones that are going to be having the ball down the stretch? How can you get those guys to basically figure out something that works?
Well, I think we as a group and they as individuals have figured out what works. The problem is we go away from it in those situations. Instead of just continuing to play, we start pressing a little bit. We get unorganized, things that we don't do for the rest of the game. So we just have to, we have to be able to sustain. I don't think any of our guys are afraid of the moment. Part of it is just experience. Part of it is I probably need to give them more structure. I would rather play with some freedom up and down the floor, not let defenses lock in. But when we're like that, I probably should have grabbed control of it a little earlier. We did with a couple of play calls with Zion, but we probably should have done that, a couple minutes earlier. So part of it's me helping them. Part of it is just them staying with what they're supposed to do, and part of it is just them gaining experience in those situations. So, when I watched last year's games, when I took the job, it was generally Drew Holiday with the ball late, and so even for Brandon, who's been in the league, he hasn't been in that situation a lot. Zion has played 62 games in his career. These guys are in different situations. So, I'm not down on them. Listen, I went through, I watched a guy as great as LeBron evolve, and I saw late game troubles with him early in his career too. So, people are very, very quick to judge guys in today's game, and they forget, they want to compare them to guys like Damian Lillard, who are great now, without going back and seeing where those guys were, at similar points in their career. So our guys just need to learn and get better, and they need to get better. We need them to get better quickly, but I'll go back to what Zion said. I think their heart's in the right place. And, I think what gets you through and what hasn't been able to get us through some of these growing pains is you got to be better defensively, and we're not, and we weren't last night. We have gotten better over the last couple of games, but down the stretch last night, we just weren't committed enough. Lillard was at the rim, and then we gave him the offensive rebound. I mean, you can't, and then that puts pressure on your offense. We got to get our job done at the defensive end.
All right, thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
First off.
Thanks, Chris. Nickeil, based on what Stan just talked about, he mentioned how, you guys broke down the last 5 or 6 minutes of the game last night during practice and kind of went over that. But how much do you have to mentally just kind of move forward and also focus on some of the better things that happened last night? Obviously, we're talking about a totally different thing if the last 7 seconds don't unfold the way that they did.
Mentally, it's like, you live and you learn. That's all you can do. We've been on the other side of a comeback like this season, so we understand the both spectrums of it. And I think us just taking what we can from it. We can't go back. I wish we could, but we can't. And just learning from it tomorrow. If we're in the same position, when we're up and we have a comfortable lead, we got to make sure that we're turning 17 to 24 instead of 17 to 10 to 6 to 3 and then so forth.
Hey, Nickeil, it's Andrew from ESPN. For you, what's when you look back on it, what is going to be your biggest takeaway? I guess from this game, just kind of in general.
Still had a lot of chances, so I think just the way it played out. Just taking away like what I can do better, and the areas from the whole game that could probably give us a whole different ending to where we were in the quarter, especially to the last play. So just everything that I did, watching the film, offensively, defensively, just growing and getting better from that.
Yeah, Stan mentioned that you guys had to talk about that one moment you had last night where you lost the ball. I guess what do you kind of take away from that convo and just that moment where, that you just make that mistake that you probably, you make that catch 100 times out of 100, but, you just make that one mistake that one time?
I think it's just focus on the moment. I try to think plays ahead. I knew that they might try to get a trap or a quick foul, so I just try to see where the defense would be to see if I could run out some more time. But, baby steps, catch, then turn. I kind of got ahead of myself and didn't make the catch.
And do your teammates come up to you and say anything, after the moment or in the locker room or anything like that to encourage you or anything like that?
Right going into the timeout, my guys were there for me, making sure that I was on to the next play. I wasn't down on myself because we still had an opportunity to win. We weren't out of it completely. So they tried to make sure that I was getting to the next play. And I appreciate them for that.
Nickeil, it seems like you're playing a little more off the ball in the half court than you were at the beginning of the season. I know, it changes game to game, but how comfortable do you feel, I guess, in that role where you're not the guy initiating the offense and maybe, looking to score a little bit more?
I feel very relaxed. I feel like the game's slowing down, just from like both spectrums, I would say, even if it is on the ball or off. Just kind of picking my spots, learning my spots, and taking what the defense gives me, letting the game come. I'm starting to slow down mentally, and so it's making things a lot easier for me, like you said, to like just see the game from a scoring spectrum and to see the game from like a facilitating point of view as well.
Nickeil, in rewatching the film film footage or the game footage from last night, do you feel like you identified or noticed a lot of things that you would do differently next time? And do you feel overall it's beneficial for the team that you guys really do pick up and learn things and then you can take it to the next game or the next stretch of games?
For sure. I mean, like, the greatest teacher in life is experience. And so, like, I think we have experience now from different point of views. And I think, like, you know, in order for there to be rainbows, you got to have rain. So just kind of understanding that with this loss, there's so much good that can come out of it. It's just about how optimistic you are and how you view it. I think the good thing about our team is no one's really down and out about it. Today, guys are still laughing. Guys are still happy. Because at the end of the day, like, we can't do anything. So it's about how we move forward and what we do the next time out.
I think Stan mentioned that, you know, for everybody, every shooter, the numbers are going to kind of come and go. You're not going to make shots every game, that kind of thing. But did you like just the kind of shots that you're getting? It seemed like you had a lot of, like, spot up with your feet set last night, and that contributed to just the offense being so good.
Yeah, I mean, you would love to have easy catch and shoot threes at this level. So I mean, with BI being a high vocal point, with Z being a main focus as well, I mean, for me, it was just stick to your strengths, simplify the game, and make it easier on those guys. If they overhelp and I'm in a step catch and shoot three, like a warm-up shot basically, take it with confidence. And I appreciate my teammates because every time they caught it, they made sure that I shot it. They made sure they told me, shoot the ball, don't hesitate, and give me the confidence to do that.
Yeah, we've seen that a lot during your career where you'll go cold for a stretch and then you'll have a game where you hit like 5 or 6 threes. I guess, what are you working on with your jump shot just to get more consistent in those catch and shoot situations?
I think it's kind of like, it's hard to say numbers wise. When you look at a game, they can be very skewed because of the type of shots you're getting against the type of team. I would say now I've just been sticking to what I do. I trust my shot, and I know that it will come. You're going to have games where you make, you're going to have games where you miss, and then just got to keep shooting it with confidence, and then over time, game always gives you what you put in.
All right, thank you, Nickeil. Appreciate it.